Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to talk about the robot frameworks. So now here I have come up with a new new testing tools, that's robot framework. So here we'll see what exactly the robotic framework is and how it works. So now if someone has done Selenium before, for them it's very easy to learn, or I can say this testing tools will be very easy for them to adapt, because in Selenium they have already done the testing process. It's quite similar to that. Just the difference here is, in case of Selenium, mostly we go for, or in case of Selenium tools, mostly we go with those Java programming language. Here, the programming language changes to Python. And in Selenium, it's like more of the rest things, you can say it's more of similar. Like using the commands, based on the commands execution, just the syntax changes to Python, and it's very easy to adapt and to understand. Nowadays, the Python is much in demand, so it's very important to know about the Python thing, and you should know how we can perform this during testing. So let's see what exactly robot frameworks is. First, I'll give you the introduction of robot frameworks, then I'll help you with the installation process. Then one by one, I'll come up with new videos where I'll be talking about the test cases, the different ways of writing test cases, and more. So first, let's talk about robot frameworks. So basically, robot framework is an open source automation frameworks for acceptance testing, acceptance test driven development, and robotic process automation. So it's an open source. It's an open source. That means it's easy to use. Second thing, it provides a simple tabular syntax for writing test case in language. So here you are writing the test case in simple language. Now it's somewhat similar to Cucumber, if you have heard this before, or if you're familiar with that. So it's somewhat similar to that. There also we write the test cases in simple English language. We are going to write the same way here. This makes it accessible for both technical and non-technical user. Now, if I write some steps and just put it in front of you, just by reading those steps, you can easily figure it out that these test cases you are going to write, or just you are working on these test cases. So that's simple it is. And robot frameworks gives you that. So here you write the test cases in simple tabular form, basically tabular syntax we say it. So we write the test case in simple way, and based on that we write the steps. So it's very simple to know. Just it's like once you start using it, you'll find it more easy. Now there are a few features of this robot frameworks. Features like keyword driven. So if you're writing a test case, obviously there will be certain keywords to identify those test case. So robot frameworks use a keyword driven approach where test cases are written using keywords, making them easy, readable, and understandable for both technical and non-technical users. So here you need to remember a few keywords that I'll be talking about. Basically, it's a keyword driven approach. So this makes the test cases easy, and through this keyword, you can write the test cases. Test data syntax. Second feature, the test case in robots are written in tabular format using plain text. That means simple English language, that the way we are talking. So test data can be organized in table using a simple syntax, such as using pipes to separate columns. See, so how easy it is. Like if it's in tabular form, it will be more easy for you to figure it out, that what exactly and how we are placing things. The syntax are very simple here. Extensible architecture. Robot frameworks has a modular architecture that allows easy integration with other libraries and tools. It supports a wide range of libraries for various purposes, such as Selenium for web testing, APM for mobile testing. So here, robot frameworks, or I say the robot architecture, supports Selenium as well as APM. So Selenium for web testing. So we are going to use the same Selenium here, just in robot structure, or you can say robot frameworks. So here we call it robot frameworks because we are using a different language that's called as Python. So Python with Selenium, you can relate that way. So that's the structure basically here. Now cross-platform, that's the fourth feature. So it's a cross-platform frameworks, means it can run on various operating systems like Windows, Mac, and Linux. Built-in test library. Robot frameworks come up with a rich set of built-in libraries for tasks such as file operation, string manipulation, and HTTP request. So these libraries provide reusable keywords that can be used in test cases. So basically, in this, you have built-in libraries in case of robot frameworks. And the best thing about the built-in libraries are that you can use the keywords in the test cases. Now the next thing is plugin ecosystem. So there are variant ecosystem of third-party libraries and plugins available for robot frameworks, allowing users to extend their functionality as per their requirement. Report and logs. Robot frameworks generate detailed reports and logs after test execution, making it easier to analyze test results and identify issues. So here, as usual, when you are working with the robot frameworks, you will have a section called as reports and log that will help you to keep the report of all your test cases. And in fact, you can have the analysis of the test cases and identify the issues. So basically the features that you see, it's quite similar. In fact, it's better than other. So here things are getting more better and more systematic that will help you to learn. So that's why I say robot frameworks is somewhat more easier than what we have done before. So these are different features, and by going through these features, I would be quite clear, like you'd be quite clear with this thing, that robot frameworks help us to perform different testing process with all the features like reports, and you can use on different platforms and all of this. At last, after going through all of this discussion, the last conclusion here is just two things. First, it's an open source test automation frameworks for acceptance testing and acceptance test driven test development. Test driven development means like you can apply multiple data for a single test case. That's basically test driven testing. And the second thing is the test case in robot frameworks are based on keywords written in tabular format, which makes it clear and readable and convey the right information about the intention of test cases. For example, to open browser, the keyword used is open browser. So you see the browser, like just by if we use these type of keywords like open browser, so it's quite clear to anyone reading that they are talking about to open the browser. So that's how we'll be writing the test cases. So this is all about the introduction of robot frameworks, what exactly the frameworks is, what are the features, exactly what this frameworks is all about, and how it looks about. It's about that. Now we will write the test cases as well, but before doing the test cases, one thing we have to keep in mind is we have to perform these steps. First, we have to install Python. That's important. Second, we have to install PyCharm IDE, just like Eclipse we are using in case with Java with Selenium, or IntelliJ we use in case with Java with Selenium. Here we are using IDE PyCharm. That's a Python-based platform. Now install Selenium, and Eclipse is just, I can say, you can say that it's a Java based platform. Now again, you need to install Selenium the way you used to define install before. You need to install Selenium here. You need to install robot frameworks, and at last you need to install robot frameworks with Selenium library. So these few things you have to do. So the next step, we are going to do that. Now, if once the introduction is done, now I'll help you with the installation process. So installation process is very easy. If you talk about installation of Python, you'll write just write install, or say download Python download. Now this is the first link. Click on this download Python. Now come here. Once you open this python-org/download, after this, go to the download section, click on Python. Now by doing this, you see my Python is getting downloaded here, and it's already downloaded. So just I will do double click and I'll start installing this platform. So now here the installation process starts. So install now. I have taken this particular location where it's installed, and it's installing Python in my system. So installation is very easy. Just download and .exe file. This is in case of Windows. In Mac, it will be a different. So just you have to install. You have to put the setup in your system so that once the setup is done, then you can start using it. So just I have clicked the install button, and this thing is installing. So let's wait for this installation to complete. So it says setup was successful. Python is installed in my system. So I'll close it. Now I'll open my command prompt. So just go to the Windows search of your system, search for CMD. And just now I'll check the version of Python. So I'll write Python -version. So this gives the version of Python. So I'm using a Python version of 3.11.5. Now the next thing, what you are going to do. So the next thing I'll do is I'll go for pip. Now here by using pip, I'll see if you write pip, this is basically a keyword, or you can say command. Basically, pip is used for the installation purpose. If you want to install something, you have to write first pip. If you have to install anything in this Python, or in this case, you have to use first this pip like keyword, and after that you have these commands. So for installation, you have command as install. For download, you have the command as download. For configure, so yeah, just this I have done this just to show you that how exactly we'll approach when we are approaching for us when we are trying to install some particular tool, or we are trying to download some package, or we are trying to uninstall. So which are the command lines that we will be using? So all the installation, everything we have to do through here. So we need to know all these command lines. We need to know all of this. So that's why we are just I have written pip and pressed enter. So you can see all these command lines here. Now the next thing here is I have to install. The very first thing is Selenium. So to install Selenium, I'll use pip. Install is the keyword, or you can say the command. And what I'm trying to install? Selenium. So I'll do this. Pip install Selenium. So it's obtaining all the informations, and you see it's downloading all the required stuffs for Selenium. So once it's everything is installed, then it will at last give you a message that things are installed. So it's basically installing everything. So you see it's mentioning installing collected packages, sorted containers, these, all of this it's installing one by one. You see, now it says that run python.exe pip install upgrade pip. So it's like it's asking if you want to upgrade pip, you can upgrade it. Okay. Now this is done. So for here, a new release is available for pip. So it's asking to upgrade it, but it's fine. We have done the installation of Selenium. That one part is done. So it's very simple. Just write pip install Selenium, and that installation is done. Now we have to install the robot frameworks. So I'll write pip install. See, the installation process is very easy. Just you have to remember this, how to do the installation, right? Robot framework, enter. Now do pip install robot frameworks. Now this time we are installing robot frameworks. That's all. Now the robot frameworks is installed. Just if you want to see the robot framework, so just write show robot framework. Sorry, it's pip. So I missed pip. See, without pip, the command line is not working. So I have to write this pip show robot framework. So now it shows that which particular version of robot is installed. It's installed with the latest version, that is 7.00. This is the home page where you can go and know more about the robot. Basically, if you want to study more about robot, you can study from here. This is the link, website link, or you can say the official link for robot framework. So it's like if you want to go through it, just paste, you will get all the documentations related to robot here. Okay. Now this is done. So basically we have installed three things. First, we have installed, in fact, three, yeah. The first one, we have installed Selenium. Second one, what did we do? Yeah, we installed two things, I think so. The first one was installation of Selenium, yeah. And the second one was installation of robot frameworks. That's completely done. So now if you want to see the list, what list are available? So I write pip list, and it shows that these all things are there in your system. So while installing Selenium and all, these all things were added to your project. It was added to your system. So I do CLS, I remove everything. Now we have to install few more things, like we have to install PyCharm packages. So for that, before I have to install the PyCharm IDE. So first I have to install the PyCharm IDE that I was talking about. So first we'll see how to install that as well. So again, I go to Google Chrome. This time I write download PyCharm. Now this is basically an ID that's available by default. This is basically an ID that's for it's basically a Python based platform. So we go for PyCharm because here all the libraries of Pythons are available from beforehand. So we go for PyCharm. So we need to download this as well. So now when you are downloading PyCharm, it says download PyCharm Python IDE for data science. So for this, let's start the downloading process. Now just to download PyCharm, you see download PyCharm Python IDE for data science. So click on this. Now here you see you have two PyCharms. One is for professional that says 30 days trial. So don't go for professional. If you are a student, you are learning, go with this one that is community edition. It's similar. There is some differences between them, but it's more about for the developer ones, like they go with the data science and development process. So they go with the professional one. For we as a tester, we can go with this community one. So click on this and you see PyCharm is straight away download. So this downloading and installation process are very easy. So you don't have to think about that. After this, the next step when you start doing that's difficult. So installation is not that difficult. Just it's very simple. Follow the steps. We don't need to do any more changes. We don't need to do too many changes. So installation becomes very easy. Right now, in my case, till it's downloading, it will take some time. And after that, this PyCharm will also get downloaded. So we will install that PyCharm in our system, and then we'll see how it looks. Basically, all the configuration part will be done. So then from the next video, we can start doing writing the test cases. So we'll talk about certain test cases, some theory about that, and then we'll start straight away. So it seems like it's downloaded. It's taking some more time. It's in progress, in download in progress. It's done. Just open this, double click on that. Once it's downloaded, double click on that pycharm.exe. So I've downloaded .exe version for Windows. And now it's asking for certain permission. I said yes. Just do next. Now this is the location where you will find your PyCharm program files, JetBrains. So remember, inside the JetBrains, you have PyCharm community editions. So I'm not going to change things because it's good. I've kept it in the, I'll create here, create desktop shortcut for this. So I've created a desktop shortcut. Next, I'll do install, and I'm installing everything. So just you click on install, the PyCharm community edition will install. Now this will take some time, and in few minutes, this thing will be installed. So once it's installed, you will have the PyCharm icon on your desktop because you have created the shortcut of it. So by this, the PyCharm is also installed. So in this video, we have talked about the robot frameworks. We have downloaded Python. We have downloaded the Selenium. We have downloaded the frameworks. We have robot frameworks. Now we have downloaded the PyCharm. So we have all the required element in our system. So just you have to follow the steps and just make your system ready. Now, once everything is ready, then in next video, we'll see how to write a test case. We'll start with the robot frameworks. So I hope that's all in this video. Now this installation process is going with, let it go, it'll complete. Once it's complete, just you have to do finish and nothing else. So this will take time. If you want, you can wait for this installation to complete. So it's doing a little bit fast. So let's wait for this to complete. Now you see this, by this, it comes to the end of the PyCharm thing, the installation. Just do finish and PyCharm is installed in your system. So now you have PyCharm also available in your system. It's not that you have to use PyCharm. You can use different ID as well, but I'm using this one. And you see PyCharm community is available over here. So that's all in this video. See you in next video. with writing the test cases. Till then, bye-bye. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we are going to see how to write the first test case in robot frameworks. So in our last video, we talked about the introduction of frameworks, as well as we talked the features of the frameworks, and we saw whatever required for installing. So if you have not watched that video, please go and watch it and then come back here. So here, basically, we are going to write the test case, and that test case we are going to write in PyCharm. So now here we'll see how to create project in PyCharm, what exactly is needed to basically start working with the projects, and how to write the test cases. These few things we'll keep in mind. Now, these are the steps. First, we'll create a project. Second, we will add Selenium library. Third, we will add Selenium robot frameworks. Then we are going to write a test case. Later, these four sections defining the settings, defining the keywords, library, and test cases. So these four sections you will have every time when you're writing a test cases. Now it's your choice what you have to define here. So we'll go through this as well, the settings, keywords, variable test cases, but maybe not in this or in another video, but we will go through all of this as well. Okay. Now this is how the test cases looks. This is how we write. This is just a glimpse, or you can see a picture where it shows how the test cases are written. So in setting cases, in setting sections, basically we put the libraries which we are going to import. In test cases sections, we put the test cases. Basically, we write the steps, and this is how we write the step. So in first test case, I'm going to do a very simple thing. That is, I'm going to open a website. So here I'm not writing a proper code because I have not given any explanation on the keywords or how the test cases steps are written. Here just we are giving a glimpse of how the test case looks like and how we write it. Later we'll go slow and slow. We'll go with other parts of the videos, other parts of the content as well. Now let's get back to our PyCharm. So let me start my PyCharm. That's here. So it's not started yet. So I'll start my PyCharm here. And in this, we are going to create a project. Let's wait for the PyCharm to open. Now here are the list of basically the list of the installed items, whatever we have installed the last day. Why is this PyCharm not opening? Maybe let me open this PyCharm again. Now the PyCharm is opened here. So here, this was a project that I was working on before. So I'm removing this from the list. Now I'm going with the very first project. So click on new project. Here you can give the name of project, the name that you like. I'll give as robot frameworks. That's better. And do create. Now when you create, you'll see a folder, basically a project will create with name as robot frameworks. Now in this robot frameworks, first thing is we need to add few packages to our project. That's important, and that you have to do every time because we'll be using these packages later. So first you will go to this, you'll go from here to settings, and in first go to file, from file go to settings, and here is the file on top. From there I go to settings. Now here you see this project. The name of the project is robot frameworks. Now inside this project, go to Python interpreter. After you click on this Python interpreter, here you see the plus sign. Click on this. Now here you are going to search for certain packages, like first one will be Selenium. Install package. Now let's wait for this to install. It will take some time. Now we'll install three things here. First, we will install Selenium. Second, we will install robot frameworks. And after that, we will install Selenium libraries. These three things are important. So the first one, Selenium is installed. Close it. Again, do plus. And right here, this time, robot framework. Now this is robot frameworks. So click on install package. Now this time robot frameworks is installed. Now it's installing robot frameworks. After robot frameworks is installed, the next thing we are going to search for here is robots frameworks dash. Don't forget to give dash because you'll not be able to find this Selenium library. You see, I have found the Selenium library. Now again, you have to click on install package. And this time I'm installing robot frameworks that Selenium libraries. So remember these three packages you have to install. First Selenium, second one robot frameworks, and the third one is robot frameworks Selenium libraries. So you close this and you see you have robot frameworks Selenium library here. Again, Selenium here, robot frameworks here, all of this here. That means all the packages needed is done. Now we are moving towards the writing the test cases. So here, either you can create the test cases outside anywhere inside Robot Frameworks project, or I would suggest just do right click, create a new directory, named it directory as automation. So a directory is built with the name as automation. Now inside automation, you need to create a new file. And the file name I'll give as test.robot. .robot is the extension. Don't forget to give .robot because it's the extension and it's required. Test.robot extension is required to write a frameworks. Now remember the next thing here, so a file is built. Now we are going to write steps here. So when you are writing the steps, be quite clear that this is a case sensitive section. That means now here, as I mentioned, we have to add 4 sections. First is settings, second is variables, third is test cases, and the last one will be the keywords. We will see the working of each section one by one. First one is settings. Now you see when you search for settings, remember the settings, the first letter, S will always be in capital. I wrote it in small, so just to make this point, that if I'm writing in small, though I take the capital one, but still the setting seems to be here in the small letter. So instead of doing this, do capital settings. Now in settings, first library, name of the library that you want to import. So I want to import Selenium library. That's fine. So I have import the Selenium library. Next thing, I have to add the variables. So this time I'll go write variables, V in caps, the variable section is here. Now I'm not adding anything inside the variables, make it quite clear. And later we will add it. First I want to write the test cases. Now go for test cases. This is the test cases section. And the fourth section here will be keywords. So these are the 4 sections. All of these sections in settings, we add the documentary things, or you say the libraries. We basically import the libraries. Here in this project, I'm importing the Selenium libraries. In variables, we'll create variables so that the repetition of steps will not be required. In test cases, we will write genuine test cases. And in keywords, what we can do, it's like we can define the complete test case inside the keywords, and we can give a specific name. Based on that specific name, we can execute the test cases. This is a brief description of these 4 sections. I'll go in details. Right now, I'm just writing the test cases. So in the first case, what I'm going to do is open Amazon website. That's a simple thing I'm doing. After this, I'll write the test. I'll work with different sections. I'll make things more complicated, or I can say more difficult. Then you will find it more interesting. Right now, let's just make it easy. So first here, Amazon website. Now here, you have to write open browser. These are the keywords. After writing open browser, don't forget to press the tab button. Because if you don't press the tab button, and if you write the same thing, like right now I've pressed the tab button, so I'm able to write, but just write if, see next line, if I start passing the website link, the color doesn't changes. So it's important that the tab button should be clicked and the color keeps changing. www.amazon.com, done. Now again give tab, Chrome. So this basically here, and I see here also I've given tab. Don't forget to give tab. In fact, for proper spacing or proper placing, you can put the tab twice. Here also I've given the tab twice, but don't forget to click the tab button, because open browser will be one section, the website is another section, and the tools that you want to open, basically the operating system that you want to open, that's another section. Now, next line, I'm writing sleep. Again, I press tab twice and I say 5. Sleep 5 means before closing the browser, it will open for 5 seconds. That's what it means. Now, next one, it means close browser. Fine. These are the 3 steps that I want to execute here. Mention opening the website, opening it for 5 seconds, and after that, we will close it. Got it? Now, after this, you see this terminal option. Go to this terminal option here. Now this shows the location of your project. Now just to move to the next step, now here in this is the location, robot framework, this is the location of your project. Now to run this project or run this file, first write the keyword as robot. Now this file is inside the folder automation. So write the folder name, give /, write test.robot. Test.robot is the name of our file. Press enter. Now, when you do this, you see the Amazon website opens. It will hold for 5 seconds and close by itself. See how easy and how good it is. See, you find it so easy. It mentioned one test passed, one test you have written, and that one test case passed. As well as you see these 3 HTML files are added by itself. Usually when used to do in case of Selenium or when used to write framework, Selenium frameworks code, there you need to create these project sessions. You need to write code for this. But in this case, if you check report.html, you do right click here, go to open in, and here it says browser. And I want to open it in Firefox browser. So here you see it gives you the detailed report of your test case, that how many test case you run, what's the status of the test case, everything, start time, end time, everything is available here. So this is also built by itself. So you'll find robot frameworks very easy and interesting by seeing these test cases and seeing these steps, because you don't need to write codes. But it's not that simple. Future in later you'll come up this where you'll be writing the codes as well, and you'll explore things more. But writing the test cases in simple English language is the best section of robot frameworks, and this is how we'll be writing the test cases. Now, this is how we write the test cases. I hope it's quite clear. Now, in next video, I'll talk about these variables. I'll talk about these keywords. I'll say how to use this variables keyword, have more commands and all. So that will make you more familiar with the frameworks. So I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next video. Till then, bye-bye. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back to my another video of robot frameworks. So in this video, we are going to talk about the different sections of test case environment in robot frameworks. So in last video, I've just have written a test case, and there I mentioned different sections like setting, variables, test cases, and keywords. Now, while writing those sections, I said that I'll explain these sections in another video. So if you have not watched that video, then please go and watch that, and then again come back to this video, so you'll get proper understanding of the concept. So here, when we write a test case, we come across different sections, like one of the section is settings. Another section is basically the variables. the next one is keywords, and the last one is test cases. So when you are writing a test script, robot frameworks test scripts are test files with .robot or .txt extension. Now I mentioned that when we are creating a file, we use .robot extension. .robot extension, just that's for robotic frameworks. Now this contains, when you write a test script, you contains of 4 sections. The first one is settings, second one is variables, third one is test case, and then keywords. Now all these sections means a lot, and this specifies something, and this makes our task easier in fact. Now how? Let's see. So the first section is a setting section. So in setting section is used to import test libraries, resource files, and variable files, and to define metadata for test suites and test cases. So it can be included in test cases file and resource files. So usually you see the setting section is when you're trying to import something to your current project. Like there are certain files, if you talk about libraries, there are some libraries that's available and you want to use it in your current file. So there you will use, you will put those inside the setting sections. Maybe you have created a script that you have written in some proper language, maybe usually you write in Python language, and then you want to run that script in your current test case. Now, because you have written the script separately and you want to run it in current test case, then in that case, you have to import that section. Now, if you're familiar with the coding thing, you know that this import plays an important role. It's something that's already defined and we are using it in our current scenario. So just to use it, we have to import it. So the import, whatever we do in form of import, that goes inside the setting sections. Second ones are variables. Now this is a similar terms for those who are from IT sector. They will know that they have done this before, like they have defined variables. Usually if I talk about Java, in Java you define variables where you store the values. Story here is same. It's the same as the story in robot frameworks. Variables are integral features of robot frameworks and they can be used in most famous places in test data. In simple test terms, if we have values that are constantly changing and are used multiple time in different test cases, create a variable helps. So in case if our value changes in future, we can just update the value in one place that will reflect in all the test cases. The best use case for using variables would be test data and locators. So basically, when we are writing a test case, we pass the values to those test cases. In fact, values like we pass the URL, we pass the browser name, we pass the username, the password. Now these values, what we can do? These values we can store inside a variable. So in robot frameworks, a section is mentioned as variables where you are free to write your variables. So as many as variables you want to create, just create it and store the values in it. Now the best thing about using these variables is in future, if you want to change these values, then what you will do? Just go to that variable, change the value, and that value is updated. That's the story of variable, and this is how we used to do before. So the story is similar here as well. Now this is how you see, this is the example. This is the setting sections where it's written, we are import the library, Selenium library. So we are trying to import the library. In variable sections, we create a variable with a name, with the $sign, and we store. Basically, we are not using the equals to sign, but the values are stored in these variables as it. The URL is stored, the username is stored, the password. So if you want to store anything, you can store in the variable section. We will do this practically and you'll get a better idea of this. The next one is test cases. Now, basically the test cases is that section where we write our code. So running a test case with multiple data sets can be efficiently done using template keyword. Now, you will see that when you're running a test case, then in that case, you can set the template in keyword. And then through that template name, you can run that test cases. We'll see this structure. So this point somewhere I'll just mark it out. Now, by defining a test case template, you can easily integrate to different data sets without duplicating test steps. So the main test case is composed of high level keywords like open browser, input username, input password, click login button, and verify successful login. So basically, these are the keywords that we use for writing a test cases. So you have seen before as well, like now I've not talked much about the test cases. I'll be talking more about these test cases, how to write the test cases, what the keywords to use in the upcoming classes. But till the section till which we have covered, you have seen that I've written the keywords like open browser. So this helps us to open browser. Again, if you want to input the username, so you will write input text. So that will help us, that will be quite clear that you are trying to input the username. So these are few keywords that you will keep in mind when you are writing the test cases. So this section I'll discuss more in details in upcoming lectures. Right now, just you figure it out that this is a section where we write the test cases, and test cases are written using these keywords. So open browser, input text when you're trying to input the text, click elements when you are trying to click on some particular element, and the last one, close browser, that's basically to close the browser. This is how we write the test cases. Now the last section and the most important section is the keywords. So keywords as a single test step. Just as test is conceptually made up of many steps, a robot test is made up of many keywords. In test cases, instead of writing the steps, we will write the keywords. So keywords are the foundation upon which all the robot tests are built. These are generate keywords provided by robot, and these are special purpose keyword that you can create yourself. So user defined keywords help us to group test cases under a single keyword. So instead of writing multiple lines again and again, we can just write the keyword once. This helps a lot when you have multiple test cases using the same test steps. It also helps in making the test case clutter-free and more readable, avoiding writing repetition codes, and also helps in code maintenance. Now, this section, what I'm talking about, when you will see this in real time, you'll get a better idea that keyword makes things more easier. It's like I have some around 20 test cases. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write those 20 test cases separately. And for every test case, I'm going to make a keyword. Now, next time, if I want to use those test cases, then I'll not be writing the test cases again. Instead, straight away, I will use that keyword, and that particular keyword will define the complete test case. I hope this point is quite clear what I'm talking about the keywords. If not, then let's see an example. So this is how the keyword looks like. You see, these are the keywords, basically begin web test. This is a keyword. Search for product. This is a keyword. So when you want to begin a web test, just you write this keyword, begin a web test, so it will open the browser. If you want to search some product, then again use this keyword, search for product. As it see in this section, in test section, it's mentioned begin web test, search for products. So basically when you write these keywords, which you have given your own names, this will perform the test steps written inside it. Now let's apply this in real time thing. So here I'm just trying, now this I've taken, this is basically official website, IT Learn 360, the one that we are using for e-learning purpose. So we'll apply this code on this website. So here I'm going to write few test cases like open the browser, maximize the screen. Next one is implicit weight that I have applied, which I'll not talk about it now. Just it's a part of test case. I'll have a separate lecture for that implicit weight. So just I'm telling you because I'm going to write that in my test case. Next is I will click on this item that is login. This page will open. You will enter the username here. You will enter the password here and then click the login button. That's my test case. So this is my test case and this is the test case I have to go for. Now I have written the test case for this. Now you see here I have written the test case. First I have written open browser where I have passed the website link. Yesterday I was taking some other example. Today I'm taking a different one because I wanted to add few more steps. When I was opening the Amazon website, in fact, the problem with the Chrome is that they are not allowing to open the Amazon website. Before it used to, but now because of security conditions, it's not allowing. So I thought of taking some other, like taking a different example. So I've taken this one. Now here I have first opened the Chrome. Then I am maximizing my window. After that, this implicit weight for the timing, just take it as I have applied a hold if required for proper execution of code. That's what you can take for this section. Now this section here, I have to click element. So I've used the keyword click element. I'll talk about these keywords separately, input text and all. When we use this, at which time we use which keyword, we'll talk about. So right now I'm trying to perform click. So I've used the element click element and I have passed these details to click that element. Second one is where I'm trying to input the text, that's the username. Third one is again I'm trying to input the text, that's the password. And the last one is I'm trying to click the login button. So just if you want to see this thing is working fine or not, so what I'm going to do is I'll just run it. All right, you know how to run it, right? The robot keyword. After that, name of the folder. My folder name is automation. And inside this, in test.robot, this particular line of code is written. So sorry, let me do enter. So this opens a demo ID on 360 website. Maximize, enter the username and log in. So this is a proper test case that I have written. Now I have to make it as e-learning website instead of Amazon website. I just did the changes in the last code itself. Cool. That's fine. Till here it's good. Now, what's the work of these variables and these keywords? Now, why I have taken this example? Because for proper understanding of variables and keywords, later I'll come back to test cases. So at that time we will discuss more in details about the test cases. So don't worry about it. Now let's talk about the variables. Now you see these values like website link, the username, the password, again, the time limit, what you have passed. These informations will keep changing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create variable for this. So first one, I'll create variable for URL. And inside URL, I will pass this value. That is this. Now next one, I'm going to mention the browser name. So I'll write browser. And here I'll mention the browser name as Chrome. Next information, it's type. Oh, let's make it, this will start with $sign. Again, dollar, that is time. And in time, 10 seconds. Next comes again the $sign. Next comes as username. So what's my username? The username is demo12. Again the $sign. Next one, password. What's my password name? Test12345 $. So now these informations, instead of passing these informations manually, now I'm going to pass based on this names based on the variables that I have defined. Now here in place of time, copy, time is here. Place of username, copy, the username is here. In place of password, copy, and the password is here. So this is how we create username, password. This is how we create variables. Now, next time, if I want to change any of these values, I'll just straight away come and change it here. So I don't need to go to my test cases and look every places where I have to change it manually. Come to the variables, change the values here, and the same thing will be, the changes will be implemented there. Now let me run this code again and see if these variables are working or not. So the website passed, the link passed. So that means variable is working because this link was fed in URL. Now after this, it maximized, the values are passed, and we are logged in. So the variable section is working. So this is how the variable works. Now comes the keyword section. Now this one is very interesting. In keyword, I'll just write IT Learn 360 login code. And the same test case that I have written here, I'll cut it from here and paste it here. Don't get panic. It's very simple. Just I have given a keyword name as IT Learn 360 login code. And the steps that I wrote it here, I just cut it from there and paste inside this keyword. Now, in next line, I will just write this keyword. Done. Just write this keyword IT Learn login code. And when you write this keyword, now based on this keyword, the test case will execute. See? So what I said, now next time if you need this login code or this login process, so you don't need to write the test case again. Next time just write that keyword ITlearn 360 login code. Just write this keyword and that particular step will operate. Now below this, if you're writing any other test cases, just again create a new keyword like search code. So create a new keyword, write the details, whatever is required. So first, this part will execute. Second, the search code will execute. Say, keep on adding as many as keywords you want. So in keywords, all the steps will be there. And in test cases, you'll be writing the keywords one by one. So that will help you to run the test cases. So that's the beauty of keywords, test cases, variables, and settings. So I hope all these sections are quite clear, easy to understand. Now, these are basic things you have to understand because in future, we are going to use it at bigger level. So right now, things are very easy. So I'm keeping it very simple and I'm using the simplest way to define this. So follow this and understand this structure. Then we will do more things to, we'll do a complete project, then you'll get more familiar too. Now the basic things should be clear. Now in next lecture, I'll talk about this IDs and all. If you are new to this section, I'll talk what these IDs, names and all are and how we are getting these values. I'll talk all about. So I have not explained this section yet, but I'll come to this section later before I'll explain you the concepts related to it. And then again, I will pick the same example. So it will be easy. Right now, just the focus was to understand these four sections, these four structures of this particular environment. This will be using out throughout in all test cases. So I hope all these sections are clear and this example is also clear. See you in next video with another topic. Till then, bye-bye and thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So in the last video, we talked about different environments in robotic frameworks where we just saw how to set the setting section, the variable sections, as well as the test cases and the keywords. Now in this video, we are going to pick the same example. And here we'll see what are the locators in robotic frameworks. And here I've divided the complete video in two sections. So one is locators in robot frameworks, and the second one is how to create a resource file and how to execute in robot frameworks. So first, let's talk about different types of locator. Now, if you have gone through the Selenium before, so you'd be familiar with these types of locator, but still I'll tell you the names of different types of locator that you will come across when you will be using this in real-time project. So the different types of locators are like ID, name, XPath, CSS, link text, and partial link text. So we'll be using all of these locators in our project. So we'll come through these locators one by one, and I'll tell you how to identify these locators and what exactly the locator is. So you can say locator is basically a section, or you can say it's a part where we try to locate an element. Now, just if we get back to the last example that we are doing the last time. So this was the example which we are executing. And in this example, if you will come through this closely, then you will see here I'm using somewhat like click element. So here I'm using XPath for this. Again, for input text, I'm using ID. Again, for input text, I'm using name. And again, for the click element, I'm using name. So these are the locators that we find in a website. So that means when we are executing a website, we go through that particular website and we find these types of locators. Now let's see how it is possible. So just this is our website that we are looking into. So last time we just executed, we took this example to understand the complete process. So here what I'm doing, I'm clicking on this login button. Once I click on login button, I enter the username and password and then click the login button. So here, now let me pass the website again. So here, just to locate this element, I'll go to this login section, right click here, and straight away go to this option, the inspect option. So once you're into the inspect option, so here, okay, when you'll click on this, sorry, let's go back again. So yeah, right click, go to this inspect option, and this is the section. Now here you have these here you have this locator ID available from by default. But if in case you don't want to go with the ID locator, so here we'll see how we'll generate the XPath. So to generate XPath is very simple. Just do right click, go to copy, and from copy, go to copy XPath. So when you do this, this will generate you a XPath. So just you copy this XPath and straight away paste it here. And this is how you define the value. So first you write the key, the locator name XPath, you give this colon sign, and after that put the value. Same it goes with the username, same it goes with the password. Now, last time we have seen how to create these variables. So already the variables are defined here, and I have explained how to define these variables. So I'm using that here. Same way you can go for the next one. After this login, when you click on the login button, next time you come to this username, again do right click. Now look for this inspect option, do inspect. And here you see this ID locator, as well as you have name locator. So you can go with any one of these locator, either go with ID or go with name, it's your choice. So you can go with any one of these two locators. Great. So the same way we have defined these locators. So this is how the locator work in case of robot frameworks. So for every element, it's important to find the locators, identify the locators, define it, and then executes the steps here. So this is the small story about the locators. Now we'll talk about the resource file. That's the second part of the video. That means here we'll see how to create a resource file, what's the uses of resource file, and why we need this resource file. So basically you can say a resource file, it goes with a name. Like when I talk about resource, it means to the current file or to the current scenario, I'm passing certain resource. And in resource, basically what type of resource? Resource like maybe the variables, where you have the informations of all the sections like URL and all, maybe the keywords. So these things I want to put it inside the resource. So just to create a resource file, as usual, you'll go to that particular folder. Like I've come into the e-learning test cases folder, right click here, go to new, and again click on file, and name this file as resource.file. Sorry, let me rename this. It's resource dot, to rename, go to refactor, go to rename, and this will be resource.robot. Now in this, the very first thing you will add as settings. Now you'll say already you have settings. Why to add these settings here? That will be the first thing you'll be thinking about, why to add settings. So basically I'm adding settings here because I want to define, or if you want to add some documentation in the resource file, like here you don't want to write a big statement, or you don't want to write a complete description of the test cases. So you want to add the documentations, or maybe you want to add the details, like you can say, you can add the details like maybe something related to the setting sections. So you can add on here. Yeah. So here in resource.robot, here you can add your own, like you can add your own settings, like documentation. You can add your own documentation if you want. Give double tap, test case to execute the login form, the login process. Next thing, you can define as usual, as you have defined here the libraries, you can define the libraries here as usual. And that is also like, again, Selenium library. So this is according to our comfort. The most important section is these variables and the keywords. Now here, you see in settings, you'll say that, okay, I don't want to add this documentation here, or just you will say that before executing these steps, like one step is quite common, that is open browser. So you want that, you want to define this line here itself in the settings, because you know every time when you will run this test case, this will be the first thing that will come to your the first thing that will come to your process is open the browser. So here I will use a keyword that is test setup, and the next keyword is test tear down. So this one is to close the browser. So straight away you can write here, for again give multiple tabs, write close browser, And in test setup, here you have to open the browser. Okay. Now, the steps to open the browsers are written here in the keyword. So what I'm going to do is, I know that this is a common step. So after this, I will add first variables. Now I'll use the variables, then I'll tell you about this. And after this, I will add the keywords. Now in these keywords, let's add these steps. So first step I will write here, I'm writing separately, open the URL. Fine. Give this tab, go to this step here, cut the first line. See, I'm cutting the first line, open browser, this from here, and I will paste it here. Now, because you have pasted these things here, the information of this URL and browser should also be here. So what I'm doing, I'm bringing these two informations from here and I paste it inside the variables here. Now, this thing is quite common, so we can write it here. And this is the keyword. So this keyword defined the open browser. So what I'm going to do here in test setup, I'm going to put this keyword name, that is open URL. It's similar. What we are doing it here, it's similar. Just we are making things in more systematical manner. That's all. So now, if you see, nowhere it's defined to open the browser in this page, login.robot page. But still, when you will run this case, you will see that the first step that execute is open the browser. So that means every time, whatever the steps you write here in the test cases, the first thing that will execute is this test setup. So the informations one by one, you're putting it here. So this information becomes common. It's like, because now to use this informations, here you're going to use a resource keyword. And again, you will define resource.robot. That's the file name. So you need to define this as well. So now next time, these informations will straight away, we'll fetch it from this resource file. That's what resource files is doing, is providing us the resources. So all these informations that you have defined here, you can put it in the resource file. But usually we keep those informations that's regularly used, we keep it inside the variables and keyword. So I hope the resource file concept is clear. And what exactly, like from this part, it's quite clear that why I'm using the resource section. So now I have built the resource section, so I'll be using it to more more uses in upcoming time. But still, through this part, it's quite clear that resource file is needed for what and why we have this resource file. Now let me run this and let's see how it executes. File or directory login.robot. Sorry, I've given the wrong name. It's inside. I've given it's inside this e-learning. Sorry. Login.robot is inside this file. I've given the wrong file name. So the file name is e-learning test case. Let's run this again once more so that you can see the output. So I click this. Now here you see the screen is shared. So it opens the website, maximizes, the username is passed, the password is passed. It's working the same way as it was before, and it says one test and one passed. So it's working the same way. Just the difference here is that the things are in more systematic manner. We have added a resource.robot file where we are adding the resource according to our users. So that's all about the locators, and that's how we create the resource file in robot frameworks. I hope this example is good enough to understand this. Now in next video, we'll talk about the arguments, how to pass values in arguments and more. That's all in this video. See you in next video. Bye-bye and thank you. Hello everyone, welcome back. So in the last video, we talked about like how to create a resource and how to set the variables in resource. We just talked about that. Now, in this video, we are going to talk about the arguments and the link count in robot frameworks. Like if you are trying to count a link, basically in a web page, if you are trying to count a link, which keyword will be used to count the links, we'll see that. And the second thing is like, we'll see what is this argument. So a small description about the argument, let's go through it. You can use argument in user defined keywords and make your code more maintainable and readable. Keywords can accept 0 or more arguments, and you can assign default values to some arguments. Now, keyword arguments are the values that, when passed in a function, are identifiable by specific parameter names. So now this keyword, what we are talking about is basically the parameter form of a function. So if you're familiar with the programming language, then this thing will be quite easy for you to understand that usually when we call a method, we pass certain values to it. And that value is passed in form of argument. Now let's add to the current example that we are working on. So this is our example, and here usually we enter the username and password. Now, till now we have entered a correct username and password. So it's very simple that just take the user variable, pass the value, and then pass the password. What about if I enter an incorrect password? Then in that case, again, I'm going to create a new variable. And again, I'm going to store value inside it. That means every time when you're passing a new value, you will go and change the values every time. Now here, argument make things easier. So I hope the example is clear. Like every time, instead of creating a new variable and passing a different value, it's better, why don't you go with the argument? Because the main thing is what we are passing, the user and password. So either come and change here, or like just you have to change the value and then run. So here, basically, we are calling this method itlearn login code. And to this method, we are trying to apply argument. So to apply argument, we are going to use the keyword argument. That's the keyword to apply argument. Okay. So first we are going to apply this keyword, and then in argument, we are going to pass the user and the second one, password. So these two things you are going to pass in argument. Now the point here is that in case of argument, the values will not only the arguments will not only be passed when you're calling this method. Usually, if you see the steps in this test case, you are calling this particular method. And when you're calling this method, so the users, the variables should be defined here, as well as variables should be defined here too. So in this method, the variables are defined, and these values are selected here in form of arguments. Now, if we run this code, you'll see it will run in proper way, as if the username and password, the way like you basically you get the basically when you pass the username and password. So now let's run this and see how it's working. So e-learning test/login.robot. So you see, it's doing well. So that means this argument is working fine. And this is how the argument goes on. Great. Now, so this is how you apply argument, and in argument basically you are passing the values. That's what you do in case of argument. Okay. Now the next thing that we'll do from here is we'll see how to get the links from here. So basically how you will get the links. So links from where? From the website. So this is our website, like our official website. Let's go to our official website here. And in this official website, after login, what we are trying to fetch is we are trying to fetch all the links available. Now, if you want to get clear what these links are all about, so basically the links means if you see, if you click on this button, book demo, so this opens a new page. Or if you click on this button, ITLAN 360, it refresh this page. So here, these contents or these datas are stored in form of links here. So if you right click and inspect this section, and if you inspect this section, you see this values are stored inside the A tag. This is the A tag, and inside href, the values are stored basically. So you have to fetch all these links available in page, and we'll check, we'll just check the count of number of links. So by this, we'll get an idea that in this page, how many links are there, and how you'll get count of this. It's very simple. Now here, basically, though it's a Python related thing, but most of the task is done using the keywords. Now, just after submit, if I want to add the count of number of links. So how I'll get the count of number of links? It's very simple, I'll tell you. To get count, you'll use a keyword that is get element count. Get element count. Now this get element count will help you to get the count of element. Now I'll try to identify this thing based on path. Now A tag is the one that contains all the link. So that's why I'm taking the A count. Now this will give me the count of number of links in the page. So if I'm getting the count of number of links, so I need to store in a variable. So we need to store this thing in a variable. Now, so whatever the count of A tags will be, all will be stored in this variable. Now, once everything is stored, I need to print them. And this I'll be printing in console window. So I'll say log to console. And in this log to console, I'll just straight away pass the variables. Now, let's go here, run the same thing. So the website, basically the login process is taking in background. Now here just we need to get the count because I'm trying to get the count in console window. So once the web page is open, it seems, oh, what happened? Get element count is not found, no keyword. Let's check why we are getting this error, just check. So it's just figure it out. Everything is fine. Just the spaces was the problem. It's like, you see, the spaces, it should be sufficient space. Like last time, everything was in one place. So just if you give spaces at regular interval, things will work fine. Now let me run this code again and explain you. So it's like basically if you are trying to get the count of the number of links, or if you want to get the count of any elements, so just write get element count method, and you will get count of all the elements. Okay, so all the elements basically available here, and I'm trying to print this count in the console window. So the console window will be basically the one that here, the terminal section. So let me just run. So here you will print the number of counts. So just let me run this, and the website will open in the background. And here just will focus on counts. I'm not moving to the website screen. I'm just moving straight away to the console window where it give you the count of number of links. See, it gives the number of counts as 174. That means the total number of links available in page is 174. So this is how we get the count of link. And this was a glimpse of how we are using the keywords. So very soon we'll start using different inbuilt methods as well. And I'll show you how these inbuilt methods works for, like how this inbuilt methods looks like. So we'll see that as well. Like here we have multiple of inbuilt methods, and we are going to take care of all the inbuilt methods. Basically, we'll see how these inbuilt methods will be using in our test cases, and how we'll be applying this when we are using in our test cases, and how it's important. So I hope the concept of argument and to get the count of links is quite clear in this video. So in next video, we'll see about the drop downs, the alerts. We'll look into that sections, and we'll see how that is executing. So that's all in this video. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we are going to talk about how to handle the dropdowns and alert in robotic frameworks. So before going to this, the dropdowns and alerts, let's understand what exactly we are going to do. So here, basically in this website, we are trying to handle we'll see the radio buttons, we'll see the checkbox, how to handle them, as well as we'll see how to handle these dropdowns. And in the bottom part, we have this alert buttons. So we'll see how we'll handle these alerts if we come across some of these alerts in real time. So I'll take example of each section, basically one for a radio button, one for checkbox, one for drop down, and the last one for alert. So first what we have to do is we'll go to our section and here create our new file and name this file as dropdown dot robot. Sorry, let's do it again. Right click, go to new file, and I'll write drop down dot robot. Dot robot. Now, as usual, we are going to write first few steps. Like first we will do for the settings. So let's write for the settings. And in settings, this S will be in capital. So in this settings, the first few steps will be like, first will be the documentation. I'm giving test demonstration. So here I'll name the documentation as drop down alert. The next thing is we need to import the library. As usual, we are going to import the library. And here we are going to import the Selenium library. Now the next section will be for variables. So we'll go for variables. And here we'll create two variables, one for the URL as usual. And in URL, we are going to pass the website link. And the next one will be for the browser. And the browser I'm using here as Chrome. Fine. Now the next section will be for the test section, test cases. So next one will be for the test cases. Now in test cases, if you remember in the last lecture, I've talked about creating your own methods, or you can say basically creating your own arguments and then executing them accordingly. So here I'm going to create an argument as drop-down elements. But before that, I'll do the one that is for the radio button and checkbox. Now I'll write here, perform click on button. So first one I'm doing for that. Second one will be for the drop down elements. And I'll say select value. Now the third one will be for the alert test. Now I'm doing the same way as we did in the case of argument. So I'm following the same process. And here I'll say alert click. Now, if you're not familiar with this, then you can watch my arguments video. There you will find it, that how these steps we are creating. Now, in the last section, that is for keywords, here we are going to add the steps accordingly. So for the first one is perform click. Basically, to perform click, I'll say like here, perform click on button. So I'll name it as perform click on button. That's the first thing I'll go for. So when I do perform click on buttons, then there, first I'll open the browser as usual. Open browser. Now these steps already I've explained in my previous videos, so you can just follow it from there. URL. The next one is for the browser related details. So this will be for browser. Now comes the next step. So I'll say maximize browser window. So this will help us to maximize the browser window. Now the next step. Here, in this case, if you notice, here first we perform click on these radio buttons. Now in case of radio buttons, you see one click is enough. Like if you click in the first one is clicked. When you click on the second one is clicked. When you click on third one click. That means the last one which you have selected is not working. So here I'll click on mail. So as usual, I'll go to this inspect option, and in mail section, I'll just see copy XPath. That's all. So here I'll write click element, and I'll be using here as XPath. So as usual, I'll write XPath and paste the XPath. This is for the radio button. Now the second one is for, again, click element, because I'm performing click here. So I'll use click element keyword. And this time, again, I'll take the XPath for this. And I'll go back to here. And this time I'll click on one of the checkbox. If you refresh this page, you see by default, the car is checked. So I'll perform click on this boat. I'll do right click, go to inspect. Just let's do it again. Right click, go to inspect. And this is for boat. So again, I'll do copy XPath. Now you'll say why you're using XPath every time, because it looks easy for me. Basically, you'll find the instead of going for any other locators, go for XPath because it's easy to perform. Now this too is for the click. Now the next one that comes here is now the first one was it's for radio buttons and checkbox. And the second one is for drop down alerts. So now let's go for drop down alerts. So the next one in drop down alerts, the name of the argument is select value. Now in case of drop down, if you see, you go to this drop down, go to this section, and you inspect here. Now this is the select. You see the select tag is used here and the value is name is equals to country. Now to perform dropdown in Selenium libraries, if you'll go and look for the keywords, so the keywords there is select. Now these options, select from list by label, select list by value, select list by index. So here you select any one of these options. So I'm going with this one, select list by label. So this is the keyword basically, and which item you want to select from here. So from this section, you are going to select the country. You have seen the locator name is, or you can say the value name is, this is the country is the section. And inside country section, you have these values like if you just expand this section. So you'd see the values are this USA, India, Ethiopia. So I'll select this value, Ethiopia. So first, what I'm going to say is, first I will mention from which section you are going to take this. That is the country section. And then I will see which value I'll select. So I'll select Ethiopia. Now this is how you write the drop downs. So just write select list by value. Now, if you want to select based on indexes, then you can use indexes. If you want to select based on labels, you can use label. So now once you do this, this will go to the drop down and select the value from there. Now, at last, again, you need to click the send button to see everything is going well or not. So just to do that, I'll say click element and I'll right click, go to inspect, and name is equals to submit. That's the value here. So I'm going to write that value here. That is name. And the value here is submit. That's all. Good enough. Now the dropdown is performed. The buttons are performed. Now last comes for alert. Now the alert section, if you see how it works, you click on this alert button. So you see a alert here. Now when you click OK, the alert is accepted. So now let's write code for alert click. Now for alert click, when you're writing code for alert click, so first you need to click on element, that is the element or the button that you find it in bottom. And again for alert click, now let me check the locator for this. Right click, go to inspect. And again, the ID, you find it here as alert. So I'll write ID alert. That's all. Now the next thing from here, that is you have to handle the alert. So when you're trying to handle the alert and when you're trying to accept the alert, then in that case, we are going to write handle alert. And if you try to accept alert, then you will use the accept keyword. And if in case you are trying to dismiss alert, now the second one is like here, when it comes confirm me, you have two options. So I would like to dismiss here. So again, I'll locate this element and check here ID is confirm. So again, I'll use click element ID. And this time it will be confirmed. Now in first case, I'm trying to accept the alert. In second case, I'm trying to cancel the alert. So I'll write again this keyword handle alert. And this time I'll say cancel. Or I'll say dismiss, sorry. If for to accept, we use the accept keyword. And to dismiss, we use dismiss keyword. That's all. So now, just to see how it's working, now we can run this test case just by writing dropdown.robot and run it. It's like, sorry, it's the wrong one. The folder name is e-learning. So I'll go with that folder name. The folder name here I have given as it's wrong. So I'll go with e-learning test case. Now this is the folder, and inside this we have dropdown.robot. Now it says something, no browser is open. Open browser in browser. Did I pass the URL? Yes, I did. And here I passed the URL as well as the browser name. Just let me check this section. The small mistake that I did here is I didn't write this word correct, that is URL. Now it's fine. Now let's run this. Now it's going to open the test case. Let's wait for the page to open. So let's run it and see how it's executing. Now the execution was very fast, so you're not able to see this because the execution time basically provided is 0 to 3 seconds. So execution is sometimes very fast. So what I'll do here is I'll apply some threads. Now here thread is basically used to hold a particular section for a given time. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to apply sleep everywhere. Like I'm going to apply sleep here. I'm going to apply sleep here. Now sleep 10 means this section is going to hold for 10 seconds. So after execution of every step, if I want to see the execution of next step, we are going to use this sleep 10. So basically when I use this sleep 10, then in that case, that section is hold for that given time. Now let's run and see. You'll see the proper outcome. Now you see Ethiopia, that's selected. So you can see that as well. Again, now you see when you click the send button, you'll find the values being passed here. You see mail, Ethiopia, car, boat, these two values. Now first one was you accepted the alert. So you get you accepted the alert. Now for second one, you'll say you press cancel. So I hope this example is quite clear to understand how the drop downs, how the alerts all are working. That's all in this video. In next video, I'll see you with the next other topic. Till then, bye-bye and thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So in this video, we are going to talk about how to parameterize the test cases in robot frameworks. Now, when I talk about parameterizing, like when I parameterize means I'm trying to pass multiple arguments. So multiple arguments, I mean to say that in this test case, right now I'm passing one at a time. If you see one username and one password. Now the same thing I'm just going to replace with multiple argument. Now this will be interesting. Like when you have multiple test cases, like you have some invalid characters, invalid username, invalid passwords. So when you have different scenarios, how will you apply those scenarios in the current test case? That's what we are trying here. So it's very simple. What you have to do, it's like I'm not going to disturb the current file. So I'm just going to create a new one with a different name. So I'll create a new file with name as login new dot robot. And just I'll copy the same steps here, and then I'll help you with like what I'm removing, what I'm not. Maybe that will be helpful for you. So here I come, here I paste. Cool. Now let's see what we are going to replace from here and what we are going to keep it here. So first thing, it's like I'll remove this test cases here. And instead what I'm going to do, I'm going to create two sections here. That is one as, sorry, here I'll create one as username. It's user name. And the other one will be as password. Now you need to define what type of username you are putting. So if you want to define that, so you can write invalid username. So let me pass invalid username like demo1234 and invalid password, and password, let's keep it the correct one. That's all. Now second test case will be for invalid password. So I'll keep the username, the right one, and then I'll keep some invalid password. And the next one will be for invalid characters. So here I'll say C at the rate. Fine. And the password, let's keep it as it is. Cool. So now here we have three situations. One with invalid username. So let me change it to word as invalid username. So here we have three characters. One as invalid username. Second one will be with invalid password. And the next one will be for the characters. Okay, let me close this. Now here, these three. So basically these three are arguments here. Now how to run this argument? So if you see in test cases, I'm passing these arguments. Now I'm not writing any test case here basically. So either I can write a test case here, but what I like to do here is I like to set a template. So just I will go here and write here as test template, this one. And I'll pass this template. So just by doing this, it will take this template. Now, if you see, this is my username. So I like to change the username in arguments as well. And I would like to change the arguments with password as well. Now the same process I'm trying with a different username, different password, or you can say I'm applying multiple test cases for a single test. So this will be interesting. Like if you go through this, you'll find it very interesting because usually you will come across this when you'll try in real time. You'll see you'll get multiple test scenarios. So instead of trying all the test cases separately, why don't you apply all here itself? Now, so everything is defined here. Now let's try this through terminal. Here, let me go. And now let me define this as, this is for robot frameworks. So just let me check. So here, this is login new. And this will, so I have to change the name here. So I'll change it to login new dot robot. Now let's try this. What happened? It says, yeah, it's opening. Just give me a sec. Let me share that. So let me share you the screen. where multiple test cases are applied. It's opening basically. So invalid username, this is passed. So here, now here you have to do a small changes which I missed. It's like here in login, it's taking user that's already defined in resource. So it's every time picking the resource from there. So you have to change it here as well. If you have changed in the argument, you have to change the details here as well. So it will work fine. So if you're not changing it here, then in that case, it will not work. So you have to change the name here as well. Cool. Now, let me run this test case and let's see how it's functioning. So now it's very first time maximized. It takes demo 1, 2, 3, 4. That's false one. So it tried for the first time. Now again, it's trying for the second time. And this time it's taking the second username and password. That's also an invalid one. And third time, it's again taking the characters. That's also an invalid one. So you're not able to log in. So that's what it happens here. We have tried. So all the test cases passed and it's working fine. So now that's the story basically with all of this. How to parameterize. So this is how we are parameterizing the test cases. Like this is created as an Excel sheet. Usually if you see, this looks like an Excel sheet and this will help you to build the Excel sheet and pass the value in multiple form for a single test case. So that's all about in this video. I hope you understood this concept. Now in next video, we'll talk about the logs and the reports. That's all. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back to another video of frameworks. So in this video, we are going to talk about the logs, reports, and screenshot feature in one shot. Basically, we'll cover all these three sections. Now, before going through this logs, reports, and screenshot section, I'll tell you, it's very easy in case of robot frameworks. So when you're using robot framework, this thing becomes very easy to use. Now, how is it easy? How is it easy to use? Usually when you use in Selenium, in that case, you have to go for the listeners. In listeners, you have to import, basically in listeners, you have to add different libraries and then you'll be able to generate reports. And then for screenshots, you have different classes and same is for the report sections. So that's a bit complicated, but here the things are very easy. You don't need to do anything. Straight away, you'll get all the details. Just for example, this is my login.robot. This is the test case, okay? So just if I'm testing this particular test case, and here you have just one, if you see in this test case, you have just one method, or you can say one step to do, that is just go and check the login. So based on that, you'll see once it's logged in. So here, based on that, it will generate you a report. Now it says pass report. Now, when you go to this log.html or you go to this report.html, right click here, go to open in and just mention the browser in which you want to open. So I want to open in some other browser, so I've selected that. So this is how the report looks like. Now the story here is that this is how the report looks. In report, you see it maintains, it's here if you check, it mentions which test you are testing, that is e-learning test. So it's giving you that details, as well as now as many as tests you have, it will mention all the details. It will give you the status, it will give you the time, the start time, the end time, so how much time it took to execute. Everything is here. Now if you go in log, here it's more descriptive. So test execution process, one passed, one zero failed, zero skipped, like that. Everything is here. So in this log and reports, these are by default present in case of robot frameworks. So in case of robot frameworks, this log reports, everything is there. Just need to go and read them. Now for screenshots, just I will write one more step here. So that will help you to understand, like in demo here, IT Learn 360 after login. So once I'm into this page, I will check the text that I get, that's dashboard or not. So I'm going to check that. So here I'm going to write the keyword that is element should be, and here I will use XPath for this. I'll go to this dashboard, right click, inspect, right click again. As usual, I'm taking the XPath here itself, paste it. Now, once the XPath is pasted, I will write dashboard here. So that means after login, I'm expecting this dashboard. Now let me run this test case. So here it's logged in. And after logged in, it's taking the dashboard text. Now let's go and check. It says field. And sorry, it should be element should be. Just let me check what I have written. Element text should be. I missed that. Sorry, I missed the word text. Now let's run it. So again, you are logged in. This is the dashboard text. Now let's check. The test case has passed. That means after login, it's looking for this word dashboard. Now, why I've done this test case? Now, two things I'll here we'll go through is first, if you're trying to compare a text after login, if you're comparing a text value that just after login, or if you fetch any title and then you try to compare a text value, then you will use this keyword that is element text should be. So this is the keyword to compare two text values. That's thing that is done through assert equal. In Selenium, we use asserts equal to compare two test values and compare the output. Here we will use element text should be. So this will compare us the output. Now, right now the test case has passed. Now what I'm going to do is intentionally I'm going to fail the test case. Like I was expecting dashboard. So I just changed the desk to, now this is what I actually get. And this is what I'm expecting. So both needs to be similar. Now you have changed the both expected and actual text and run this test case. And what happens here, you notice that this test case will fail. And when test case will fail, here you will generate a screenshot. So just you have to notice that screenshot. So once the test case is done, now this time intentionally I'm trying to fail the test case. So if you'll see here, the test case will fail. And as the test case failed, so it says should have been dashboard, but it's dashboard. So actually you get this and you are expecting this. Now, because this test case failed, so you see a screenshot is generated. Now this is Selenium screenshot 1. So you don't need to generate any screenshot. By default, this screenshot is there for you. That's the beauty of this. Now here you go, open. And now here straight away, either you can open the screenshot, just open the screenshot. And you know, at this page, the test case failed. That means here when you are trying to compare this dashboard, the test case failed. It logged in, but it was not able to compare the dashboard. So here it generates the screenshot for a failed state. So if you are going through a failed state, if a test case goes through a failed stage, it will generate you a screenshot. So log reports, everything's are here. Just you need to know how to use them and what exactly it comes inside it. Now, if you see log for this one, just go with open it browser, and in Edge, again, if you open this, so now if you see the log report here now, so it's quite descriptive. So here you see what happened. Just check. Now here you see. So basically all the keywords, now you see in log, everything is defined. Basically the test, which test you are executing, what keywords you have used. Again, each and every line is defined with keywords. Now what locators you have used, that is also defined here in form of documentation. So element identified by locator, that's what it's trying to say. So if you read the documentation here, if you read the fail condition, then you will find in fail, in this one, it says it gives you the screenshot as well. And also you say that contains the verify the locator contains exact the text expected. So basically the screenshot is also here. Now you see the log gives you a complete description of each and every step what you are doing. So this log and reports were important when you are working in case of Selenium, but there it was tough to generate. Now here it's very easy. Just you need to know how to read, and you can go and check your outputs here very easily. So that's all the story about the log, reports, and screenshots. I hope it's clear how we generate all of them. That's all in this video. See you in next video. Till then, bye-bye. Thank you.